Oh, a microphony.
And a phony at the mic.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
The Doctor of Discernment is now online.
You know, much like my show, in that it's a local reaction to things that are happening on a federal level.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Wow, do I have a boatload of stuff for you, from the crazy to the absurd. Let's start getting into it because, I mean, it is bizarro world out there. And I say, if it's obvious to me, should be obvious to everyone. Oh, wow. Who could have seen this coming?
This is the Fourth Hour with Greg Belfrage.
Hold on to your butts.
Broadcasting from my basement bunker beneath Kello Radio. Welcome to the Fourth Hour. It's great to have you along this morning. I really feel badly that I missed this yesterday because this came out yesterday morning as I was on the air, and I should have shared it with you during the Fourth Hour yesterday. And I talked about this at length on the program this morning, especially in the final segment of the show. But this is the post that the president put on Truth Social talking about the Jeffrey Epstein scam. That's what he believes it is. And he went after, as you see right here, my past supporters have bought into this bull. Hook, line, and sinker. They haven't learned their lesson and probably never will, after being conned by the lunatic left for 8 years. And then he goes on to talk about the success he's had and talking about Jeffrey Epstein. You know who's talking about Jeffrey Epstein the most? Trump. I just wish he would stop talking about what's going on with Jeffrey Epstein. Don't take that wrong. Now, I'm not saying bury it, forget about it. No. I think he has made a mistake. I want to share a video with you that Charlie Kirk did yesterday, because I think Charlie was spot on here in reacting to this. He's sick of talking about it. I am not at that point. He is. Charlie Kirk is. But he made these comments yesterday, and I thought you should hear these.
Said this last weekend at our event about Epstein. Honestly, I'm done talking about Epstein for the time being. I'm going to trust my friends in the administration. I'm going to trust my friends in the government to do what needs to be done, solve it. The ball's in their hands. But let me just say this again. Everyone knows my opinion about the Epstein thing, the messaging fumble. I would love to see the DOJ move to unseal the grand jury testimony. I think that would be a big win. I would love to see that. And I'm going to trust my friends, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, my friend Pam Bondi, all these guys. I'm going to, Todd Blanche, I'm going to trust them to solve it. Ball's in their court. Said this last weekend.
And there you go. And then it's repeating. Sorry about that. So, ball's in their court. Take care of it. Let's do it. And they've got to do it. And I think given the fact that the president making that comment yesterday, I think was, Robert's making a great point here. I can't believe he keeps this huge unforced error going. Yeah. And I feel the same way. And that post that I just shared with you, I think was a huge mistake. And I'm sorry that I had not seen that yesterday morning, or we would have talked about it yesterday, because that was the conversation yesterday. You come out with a post like that in the morning, that drove the news cycle yesterday. And so I got a number of different thoughts regarding this. I'm not saying that Jeffrey Epstein is not important, or that case. Epstein, of course, not important, but the case and what he did, his victims, absolutely important. I think those things are. And I'm with many of you on that. The best thing Donald Trump could do is just to release whatever information they've got. Release it, do it right now, make a big deal about it. They have got to own that story, because you've got portions of the base that are upset with him, some of you, and I totally understand where you're coming from. I understand why you're angry. I mean, I look at this, it's one of those, it's a huge unforced error. And I have said a number of times, I wish the president on True Social could be more disciplined. I just wish he was more disciplined in the stuff he's doing on True Social. You know, it's one thing if you're an average American and you get and you vent on something. I mean, I even try to refrain from doing that when I'm on Facebook. I mean, I'm careful. I think, do I really want to go here? Do I really want to say this? I don't want to post something because believe me, there are times that I want to, but I go, it's, nothing good will come from this. He hasn't learned that lesson. And he is the one who has kept it out there and in the news. Certainly yesterday, that post yesterday was the news. And his reaction. And I don't understand why he's going, south on past, he's calling them past supporters. Where is that coming from? I think you've got to be reasonable. You and I have some disagreements regarding some of these things. I have thought that the whole thing, why is the president even talking about it? Why isn't he focused on the things that he should be doing? I'm not saying the administration should not be doing anything, but why is the president talking about it? That, I think, has been a mistake. And again, it's, he should be focused and keeping his eye on the ball. Trump doesn't always do that. And I have understood for a long time that's the way Trump is. In this case, it's just not, it's just not settling with the base. They are upset with him over this deal. And I want to be careful. I think Trump has had, and that's where I probably diverge. With all of you who have said, let's release the files, let's get it out there. No argument from me. Totally agree with everything folks are saying. I think that's after that, that's where I kind of start to peel off a little bit. And I think the Jeffrey Epstein case, I'm not saying it's not important, but in terms of the country overall, some of you have made a pretty compelling case to me, and I'm hearing it. I want you to know I'm hearing what you're saying. In regard to the rich and the power, having two-tiered justice, right? 2 tiers of justice. One for the rich and powerful, and one for folks like us. I totally hear that. Totally understand where that's coming from and why folks are feeling that way. So this is a huge unforced error in what the president said yesterday. And I think he's got to, I don't know, he should seek some counseling before he, no, I'm just joking. But seriously, I mean, he ought to stop and think and reflect. The guy is smart. But sometimes on True Social, I think he lets things fly that he, and there's nobody there that's saying, wow, that was a bad idea. Like so many of you have said to me, I say something stupid and a lot of you go, oh, bad. You know what I mean? Is there nobody whose counsel he appreciates that he could bounce these things off of? The whole thing has turned into a mess and he's got to fix it. It's gotten to a point now where he must fix this. It's now the leftist media and the way that they approach it, the state media, the way they are going to address this story. Yeah, they want to keep the focus on this. The Democrats, they want to keep the focus on this. And I understand that. And he should too. And that's why I'm disappointed that apparently he doesn't. So that was really a huge story yesterday. And I'm sorry that I didn't catch it. I want to see some of your comments here. Steve saying, I post nothing on social media. I make a few comments, but for the most part, I've seen the damage social media does in the heat of the moment and avoid it like plague. I totally agree. I made some missteps on social media myself personally a number of years ago and really regret it. Really, really regret it. With family at the time and with friends, and it's just it can be a minefield if you let it be one. Robert saying, I heard on Clay and Buck, if it's up to the judge, that judge needs to be persuaded to release the information. I would agree. And a part of this, whatever information the Trump administration has, they should release. They should release. Now, if there are names that are redacted and whatnot, that would require a judge. The redactions would not be by the Trump administration. The redactions would be in the material that they have. So that material they did not produce, right? So the redactions would have come from the court, and you would have to go back to the court in order to see names or whatever. Denise saying, he gets questioned nonstop on this. He wants to bring other things forward and talk about it, but people won't let it go. Personally, I'm tired of hearing about it. And I understand why you feel that way. And then she said, he never said he would release it. He said he could, but he needs to look further into it. And he actually, I think, the comments that I had yesterday, I don't have them right in front of me now. He was encouraging Pam Bondi to release what she could. Now, what could means, I don't know. I think, as House Speaker Mike Johnson said yesterday, release the information. Release what you have. Just release it. Get it out there. And let people see what it is. As to whether or not Pam Bondi was, to some degree, and this is what some are saying, that she kind of built up expectations among folks on social media, the social media influencers, that she was sending out, files and whatnot to them and labeled it, number one. So folder number one which would indicate what? That there would be a second one forthcoming, right? So there were things here that were obvious missteps that they did. But they've got to be clear, and they've got to take care of it, and they got to kill it. And they ought to do it right now, just as fast as they can. Robert's also saying, I realize it's a childish thought, but I just want to see one powerful person prosecuted. Of course, that has happened. He said former Senator Bob Menendez as an example. So, interesting to get into your comments today. Said, I think that's part of the problem, Robert. So many MAGA want prominent Democrats to be on the list, but that doesn't necessarily make it so. I wonder, why would you say that doesn't make it so? That there aren't prominent Democrats or Democrat supporters, Democrat donors who aren't on the list of the people that were going to Epstein Island? They were a lot of, Democratic power brokers. So should that information be released? I don't think Trump's on the list. I've said this before. If Trump were on the list, you don't think it under previous administrations, and when Trump announced that he was running for president, you don't think that information would have been released? Of course it would have. that information absolutely would have been released. And do you think that you would still have then people like who have apparently seen the information, Dan Bongino, Cash Patel? This is where I was trying to caution people yesterday on the radio show. Slow down. The do you honestly think all of these folks are corrupt? Cash Patel, Dan Bongino, Pam Bondi, so I don't think all of those folks are corrupt. I think they just mishandled all of this in it bigly. I mean, in a major way, they mishandled this, but that really is, I think, the thrust of it. So I want to apologize. I wish I had seen that. I check the president's True Social daily. And before I went on this morning, I checked it again, with you this time about 15 minutes ago. I checked it again. Okay, has he said anything else? What's going on? And now he's been silent on it. And the problem is he stirred up the embers yesterday and the fire's roaring, and then he walks away from it. And you just can't do that. So the administration has got to do something. Okay, let's see what else I've got for you here. This is from the New York Post. This is new this morning. 50-day sanctions deadline for Russia wastes time. So this is an exclusive interview that the New York Post had with Zelensky. And he's saying that Russia needs to feel this, saying he's very grateful that Trump supports the sanctions, saying the 50-day deadline, though, only means more death and destruction for another almost 2 months. The 50 days for us, it's just every day is scary. And so he said the solution to this is to make Putin want to end his war. So what is he trying to involve the United States then? Is he trying to pull the United States into that, saying now the United States has got to do something to be able to, make Russia want to end this war? Ukraine has had plenty of time to try to do that. The United States now providing more weapons. Are we headed down the path to I'd appreciate your perspective on this. Are we headed down the path to another conflict? And he said if Ukraine has to do this on its own, we have a very long way to go with a lot of deaths to convince him that it's important to end the conflict, because it's not just words. They need serious leverage, he's saying. So Trump is, and we talked about this on the radio program yesterday, the United States sending more military hardware to Ukraine. Also, I spotted this story this morning. Outside of political vein, this guy who tries to drag a woman into his pickup truck. Do you see this? Watch this. It's just crazy. So she fights with, I'm going to start it over here. Here they are. Trying to get her into his pickup truck. And I don't know what happens there. If she slipped and fell, they're fighting. He's unable to get her into the truck. She gets away from him. Boom. And away she goes. Can you believe this? Wow. That is crazy. And of course, and here are some photos from this. That is just absolutely crazy. So this guy is under arrest now. But that video just absolutely blew my mind. That is, and the headline says it all. A creep tries to drag a woman into his pickup truck. That is a terrifying scene. Where did that happen, by the way? Florida, I think. St. Augustine. Isn't that crazy? Wow, people are just absolutely out of their minds at times. All right, we're going to leave it there for today. You made it to the end of the video, so thank you. You are part of my gallery of champions. Special salute to the Bunker Brigade. You saw some of their names as I was showing comments here this morning. I love having you participate. Please hit the like button before you leave. I'm trying to get more people into the program. We're promoting it on air. I'm doing things here, but you've got to hit that like button. The best way that you can do that, and the best way you can help me, is to like it, to share it to other like-minded folks. I'm trying to bring them into the fold. I know there's a lot of material that's out there each day, and I'm trying to make this very much worth your time. Same philosophy I have on the radio show every day is I want to inform you about things. I want to keep you engaged, and I appreciate you. And one way you can appreciate me is by hitting the like button. So let's leave it there for today. Until tomorrow, my friends, I'm underground and gone.